And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Connected for Real podcast. I'm Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman, and today with me is my brother, Hananael Gez. And I'm so happy to have you here, Hananel. Introduce yourself, and then we'll get into our topic of expansion and God.
Thank you very much for having me. As you said, I am your brother. I am the first brother that you had, so you are number one and I am number two.
Yeah. And by the way, just so you guys all know, sneak peek, the other brother, Amichai, is in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned because that one is a really good conversation. Okay. Let me tell you guys, I was always the older sister, and he was always my brother. And then suddenly, 4 months ago, I became Hananel's sister, which is a very interesting shift that happened in my life. Let's give everybody a little bit of background of what happened 4 months ago that changed everything, and then we can get into talking about our relationship with God and, others and so on.
Sure. So 4 months ago, I was in a tragic terrorist attack where I was driving with my wife to have a baby, and unfortunately, we were shot at, and my wife unfortunately did not survive, and the baby died 2 weeks later. So, yeah, that was a very tragic event. And now we are coping and we are rehabilitating our lives the best we can.
Yes. Yes. And so for all you who are looking it up now, look up Tze'ela Gez. She was a gigantic light in this world, and she was so awesome that, she really wanted to go viral with the light that she had, and I think she did. She was definitely very successful at touching everyone's heart with her story. As tragic as it was, it also was a very big breakthrough in the world. So Tze'ela Gez and Ravid Chaim זיכרונם לברכה, השם ייקום דמם. And this episode is dedicated to them, so have them in mind. Now we're going to get into the topic. I'll give you a little background of how our podcast works around here. So we have 4 pillars: God, marriage, business, and you. And we really talk about all 4 because if you focus only on your relationship with God, then what's going to happen with your other relationships and with the things that you're actually doing in the world and, getting practical and all that good stuff. And if you're only focusing on your marriage, then you're going to maybe think that you have to hold yourself back and not open up a business or not go and do the thing you're being called to do because like marriage is number one and that's it. Nothing else matters. But it doesn't work like that. And, sometimes you'll go to gurus who are all businessy and they'll tell you just like, throw yourself at your business. If you give it your all, you're going to make it. But like, some things are going to get in your way, which is like your marriage, your children, the things that as if are taking you away from your business. And that's not the type of life that we believe in. And so I work very hard on teaching women how to find that balance. And then the last pillar, which I think is one of the most important ones, obviously they're all important. And I could say the same about every single one. But the part that most people are not talking about is that you are the container that holds all these parts of you. And you can't hold everything if you're feeling overwhelmed and constricted and really tight. You need that expansion to be able to have space and to be calm in everything that you do. So exactly because of that, this month is focused on expansion and specifically expansion in God. And I brought you here because you went through something so tragic and most people are shocked at your reaction. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, as soon as we were taken to the ER, the emergency room, they took care of me. And then later, like a minute later, she came in a different ambulance and they took care of her. And as soon as they did all the tests and different like MRI and everything, because I got shrapnel on my hand, on my chest, so they were very worried that maybe something went deeper than they could see. And thank God it was only like a minor surgery to get rid of the shrapnel, and I was okay. Which happened like 3 weeks later because I knew that I have to tell my kids everything that happened. But immediately after the quick assessment, they took me to like a recovery room and they said, "We're really sorry. your baby is in very critical condition and not stable. So we don't know if he's going to live or die. And unfortunately, your wife is gone. And that was very difficult to swallow because I kept asking, "Are you sure?" And the doctor's like, "Yes." I'm like, "100%?" He's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "1,000,000%?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, I don't think it's going to help if I ask him another 100 times because he's just saying yes." So he had a very clear certainty, and I realized that I have to also have very clear certainty in what I'm choosing to do with my life. Because if he's so sure about what he's talking about, I need to be sure about what I'm talking about. And I had this big question in my head: 1 second, do I still believe in God? Do I want to just throw everything out the window and say, I don't really care about religion and life and God and all this? Like, I'm just going to do my own thing. But then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be fully connected to God and know that He is my king. He's my only king. He's the one that takes care of me. He's my father. And if He does this to me, He knows that I can get through it. So I decided that I am going all in on God and saying, all right, you know what? This is the worst thing that could ever happen to me, but I am totally with Hashem, with God. And it was a very crazy situation. The morning after, I immediately wrote in a group that I run together with a few other friends, the Aliyah Network. And it's a very nice group. It's also on Facebook, also on WhatsApp. And basically, it's just for people that want to make Aliyah or already made Aliyah and need some help with like just practical things or just like motivation or whatever. And for me, I really love to motivate people. I feel like that's a really strong spiritual thing that I love doing. It's just for myself. I love helping people and push them forward to do their dreams and to go for it. So the morning after this whole tragedy happened, I wrote in the group, like, hey, friends, I am really sad to announce that unfortunately last night my wife was murdered and we were on the way to have our fourth baby boy. Like, this is crazy. And naturally, I am very like broken and shattered and I'm very sad. And this is really tragic. On the other hand, it's very important for me to remember and to let you all know that Hashem is the one and only king that we have. And whether it's something good that happens in your life or something very difficult that happens in your life, it's the same God that gives you life. And He also sometimes takes away things from you. So I still believe in Hashem and I will accept this whole terrible thing with love. And it's very strange. How can you say that? But for me, it was like, hey, it's the same one that gives you that, the one that decides that right now you don't need that wife anymore. And it's like crazy. What? How can you? But it's a choice you make. Like, I am choosing to live and to go on and to try, not that I'm like an angel, to try to be as strong as I can be. Of course, I'm going to have my weak days, my difficult days, not functioning so well, not functioning at all. That's normal. You're going to be depressed, you're going to be sad, you're going to be angry, you're going to have all the emotions, like the 5 stages of grief. But from the very first moment, I realized this is God telling me, here, I am testing you, and I need you to be strong, and I believe in you. So I did the best I can, and I'm still trying my best.
Yeah. That moment where you realized I have a choice here. I think that's the moment of expansion where you could have been very shrunken, right? You could shrink into yourself and be very, very tight, or you can see it as an expansion and ask questions and be open to hearing what is going on? What do you want from me? How do I serve you now? What's up? And even if it doesn't feel good, and even if you're still experiencing all the normal emotions, having that very clear anchor, I think, is what created the expansion.
Right. And one thing that I really thought about was that the fifth stage of grief, and by the way, it goes in all directions, like you don't have to go in a certain order, but the last one is acceptance. Like, okay, you accept that this is the new reality. Like, you no longer have your wife, and 2 weeks later, you no longer have your baby that you were hoping for and your kids were hoping for. It's a very tragic thing, but when you accept it, so suddenly you're like, okay, this is where I basically move on now. But for me, it was like, that's not enough. That's not enough just to accept it. So I realized that there is a sixth stage that I basically came up with. I don't know, maybe it exists somewhere. But for me, it was like, hold on. I can use this terrible, terrible, painful tragedy to motivate and inspire and give it purpose for everybody around me. And I can be a light to the whole world. And for me, that was really powerful to say, all right, what is the meaning and purpose that I can create from this and take the lemon and make lemonade out of this? And it was so clear that I can strengthen all of us together because I knew that the whole thing was like, okay, we have to let your family know quickly before the news gets out. And of course, you got to know this very quickly from the soldiers that came to the house and they're waking you up frantically, like, go tell your parents, go wake up your parents before the news gets out. And you were like, oh my gosh, I have to deal with this first. Hello, I'm also like part of this. And so for you, it was also difficult, as you mentioned. But at the same time, I felt like, whoa, the whole of the world is going to hear this terrible news, especially the Jewish people, which are like brothers and sisters. And when one heart is broken, it's like a web. All of our hearts are broken together in the same moment. So I knew that I need to hold everybody strong and say, listen, I know that this is horrible, but we are stronger than this. And it's very hard to do. It's not a natural thing, but sometimes the mind needs to be on top of the heart and not let the heart take over and just like go berserk. Because, yeah, you could be all depressed, you could go crazy, you could like do terrible things, but is that going to help you move forward in life? No, you're going through this anyway. You might as well take the best case scenario. Like you still have the imagination to say, all right, I can go the worst, I can go the best. So why not go the best? Of course, you can go in the middle also. Like nobody's telling you what to do. But like if you have all these different shades of colors that you can choose and you can go for the brightest, best colors, why not? Why not? Like you're going through it anyway. So that's why I was like, okay, you know what? I'm adding this stage number 6 of giving purpose and meaning and uplifting everybody with me. And so when the 7 days of mourning came in and everybody came to comfort me and console me, they were all like, "Oh my gosh, you're like consoling us. Hello, this is strange. Like you're so strong. You're even strong. Like we're freaking like we don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Like we don't even know what we're supposed to say. And here you are, making us happy, making us joyful, making us laugh. Seriously, I was like just doing like a stand-up comedy show. Like, oh, I'm so happy she agreed to marry me. It's so hard, and like I was just making a whole big joke. And it's not that I don't like respect her. Of course I do. I think that's the best way to deal with so much pain and suffering. Like, oh my gosh, my wife is gone after 11 and a half years. It's really crushing. It's very crushing. It's very difficult. There are many times that I just like burst out and cry, and it's very difficult. But at the same time, I choose to focus on the good. And I think that whatever you focus on expands, and you just got to continue to expand in the right direction that you want. And as long as you're focused on wanting to be happy, which is my number one thing, like I want to be happy. Not that I'm trying to like erase the sadness and erase whatever, just the opposite. Because I'm pushing to feel everything, I'm able to kind of get over all the bumps and then like straight sailing, hopefully. And I'll say one more thing. Right after the Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, I went to sleep, and then 2 hours later, my brain was like just going crazy, berserk. I couldn't sleep, and I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm sitting there in the couch in the living room, and I'm like, what is wrong here? Like something is happening. I'm not able to process this whole thing. And I knew, like, okay, now everybody's gone. Now I've just got to deal with all this. And I'm thinking about all the feelings, all the emotions, all the thoughts are running through my head, the grief, the anguish, the sadness, the love, the missing of these loved ones that I care for so much. Like, how am I supposed to like deal with this? Should I try to suppress it? Should I try to not give it place? Or should I give it space and let it like wash through me and clean me out? And it's like when you have this very rigid rock and then it goes like on a waterfall. So you feel like it's cleaning it and making it smoother, and then it becomes very rounded and beautiful. And I feel like that's how our soul and our heart is. Like sometimes we have this terrible trauma and then we have to deal with it. So like I think the post trauma is to let the tears flow, feel everything, and then get over it. And that's the best way to get over it. Not that you're like erasing it, just the opposite. You're living into it, you're leaning into it. And that's why in Hebrew we say, Hamakom Yenachem Eschem, that God should console you. And it means like only God can really understand you and console you. On the other hand, I was like, why say the word Hamakom? Because God is like Hashem or Elohim. Why are you saying Hamakom? Hamakom means the place. And I realized the place means give place, give a space for all your feelings, and that will console you. Hamakom, to the feelings, the laregashot, that will console you. So I thought that was a really nice way to process everything that I'm going through.
Yeah, I only heard that you said this when we went to a different Shiva, a morning of a woman here who lost her husband in the shooting last week. And I took my mother and we went together, our mother, and we went together and she told them that you came up with another new way of looking at Hamakom Yenachem. And that was the first time I heard it, and it gave me so much comfort because I was like, oh, I just need to be with my emotions. Like if I want to cry now, I cry now. If I want to laugh, I laugh. If I want to, be sad, if I want to be angry, and as soon as you make it okay to feel whatever you're feeling, then, there's like something called the meta emotion that like you're angry that you're angry, you're sad that you're sad, you're upset that you're upset. That is all erased because there's no more judgment of the emotion. It just is. This is where we are right now.
Yeah, and because I have a degree in psychology also, so I understand, and I'm a parent and I'm a husband, I have a lot of training in like, I mean, whatever, I mean, trying to be the best I can. So there's the whole thing of validating your emotions. Like, hello, the child is crying. Don't say, oh, don't cry, everything is okay. No, something happened. Give it space, give it room. Like, say, okay, I see that you're hurting. Let's see what it is. Let's kiss it. Let's help it go away. Or if the husband or wife, you see your partner that's suffering, and you don't just say like, oh, everything's fine, stop complaining, stop whining, stop whatever, like, why you so angry, like, stop. So the opposite is how you're supposed to react. You're supposed to say, hey, I see that you're really angry, or you're really sad, or you're really whining about this thing forever already. Let's talk about it, let's give it space, and let's understand. And I think that's how you empty the jug when things are going crazy. You got to talk about it. Okay, what else is bothering you? And just be like the tourist hat. Like right now, I got to be there for you. So the same thing for yourself. Hey, I'm feeling stuff. Let me put the tourist hat on and look at my own emotions and feelings like a cloud passing through. Like we meditate, like, hey, now look at yourself, look inside. Don't just look at other people and be there for them. Be there for yourself too. And that's what we talked about. Like, be there to be stronger for everyone else. You got to be strong for yourself too.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Tze'ela was so amazing at helping people, and she was very into getting help. She said one of the things that she changed in the entire way of looking at trauma is that you should treat it as soon as possible. And I really, really line up with that. I feel very in agreement with going right away, getting the help you need, catching it right at the beginning. And when I went to ask for help, of course, I don't count because, thank God, I'm too far off, believe it or not. So they said, no, give it a couple of months. Let's see how you're feeling. And I was like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. I'm not going to give it a couple of months. I'm going to take care of it right now. And so I was strong-willed enough to get the therapy I was needing and also the help with the kids that I needed because, I was also helping validate a lot of little people's emotions and big people's emotions. So I feel like that, I would say, breakthrough that she had while she was alive, that no, it has to be right away. And the entire trauma world thinks that you need to let it all settle before you work through it is such a mistake. And I was able to tap into that and really get the help I needed and also advise other people to do so as well.
Right. So Tze'ela, my dear wife, she was very high up there in the world of therapy and psychology. And she was actually a trainer for other coaches, psychologists, therapists. Like it was huge. She had a whole movement and she had very big plans. When we just got married, I remember we were married for maybe 2, 3 months. And I asked her, like, you're so amazing. I really want to help you to grow. What is it that you really want? Where do you see yourself like moving forward in your professional life? And she said, listen, I'm already done with my first degree. I'm starting my second degree in dance and movement therapy, and I want to go to PhD, and I want to be a lecturer in universities and train people how to do therapy the right way because you can be a therapist or a psychologist and make a lot of mistakes and do a lot of damage in people's souls. Like, what is worse than that? You're supposed to be helping and you're destroying somebody's soul by labeling them with the wrong thing, diagnosing them with the wrong thing. Hello. So she had a whole different approach of like, hey, there's nothing wrong with you that you have to be labeled something. You are just going through something, and I'm going to go in that dark tunnel with you, and we're going to figure out how to get you out of it because we're all messed up in something or another. And we're all the same. We're human beings. We have our quirks, and we're all messed up in some way or another, and it's not even your fault. Like you were brought up that way and your genes and everything. Like just like let's figure out how to make it better. And I was so excited for her, and I said, you know what, I know you want to wait until you're going to be all PhD and everything, but there's an unconventional way you can do this. You could actually go out there and do like workshops, and you can do seminars, and you can go like talk in different communities, and you can do so much stuff with like schools and children and everything. Like, why do you have to wait until you have all the credentials to actually help people? You have that such a burning desire to help people in the most important thing, which is their soul, their psyche, their mindset. That's like the operating system. Like if you have a virus or a bug or a security vulnerability in your Windows machine or Macintosh, Mac, whatever, you are going to have a very bad time with hackers getting in there. So same thing goes for your mind, your mindset. You have to treat it. You have to get rid of the weeds. It's like a garden. You got to water it. You got to take care of it. You got to nurture it. So I told her, listen, you have such a burning desire, go for it now. Don't wait. And I helped her to get over her fear of investing in herself professionally. She was so afraid. Even just small things like just going out with a friend to just get an iced coffee. And she would call me up. I mean, we're married for like 3 months. And she's like, oh, Hananel, is it okay that I buy a coffee for myself, like an iced coffee for myself and my friend? I'm like, are you joking me? Of course. Never ask me again. And of course, she did ask me again and again and again until she got it that, like, no, it's okay. I know that we're a couple now and our money is together and we want to do everything very smart and everything. But, like, you got to pamper yourself and feel okay that you have abundance. There is not a shortage of money. And then afterwards, when she wanted to take all these special courses, very specialized, like EMDR, EFT, tapping, SE, and breathing techniques and mindfulness and so many different things that she wanted to learn. It was like thousands and thousands of shekels, and even getting like a business mentor. It was like we went to this big retreat and it was like 4,000 shekels and it was like a huge thing. And then he had an upsell. Like if you want the VIP program, I will sit with you every week and we'll work on your landing page and your sales page and your webinars and everything, and I will help you. And it's like 70,000 shekels. And she's like, there's no way we're doing it. I'm like, yes, we are doing it. And she's like, but we have a down payment on buying a car. We need a car. And I'm like, the car can wait. We'll get a ride. We'll get a hitchhike, whatever. Who cares? So we'll get a car in like 2 years. We can survive without the car because the car was supposed to be like 70,000 shekels and we put down the 2,000. And I'm like, forget it. Let's get the 2,000 back and let's go for this. This is more important. You're going to generate a lot more money from this, and you're going to be able to help so many more people like this. So I was always thinking how to expand, how to grow more, and how to help more people. And obviously you're going to get a lot more money from it. But even if it's not all about the money, it's also about helping more people. It's everything together. And there's nothing wrong with also making money. There's nothing wrong with it. You're helping more people, you're giving value, you're getting value. It all goes together. So what I feel is that throughout this whole time, she was already on a very, very clear path to continue to help more and more people. At the very end, she was already taking care of over 30 people a week in her private clinic, sometimes 35, 36 people a week. And it was amazing. And she was just a month away from getting her PhD, her what do you call it, psychotherapia, psychodynamic, psychotherapy, psychodynamic. It was like very high level of thinking, like, wow, like thinking about the setting and the room and the what are you doing and what time of the day you're meeting and making sure that everything is consistent and being there for the patient. And also, she would have this feeling that she's so inside of the pain, going deeper and deeper into pain with the patient. And it was usually women. And she would be with them and they would be so broken. And she would let them be there, crying their eyes out. And she was in so much pain as well. She would tell me, wow, today I had so many moments that I wanted to cry with the lady. I wanted to cry with her and the other one also and the other one also. And I had to hold on. I had to kind of like be there with them and cry in my heart and not let it out because I knew that if I cry in front of them, they'll feel even more broken and they need to know that I'm holding them. So I would wait until they leave and then I would break out and cry my eyes out for everything that I couldn't cry before. And then I had just a few moments to go wash my face and get ready for my next session with the next person. And it was so special because she was totally loving to be there for every person. And she felt like, wow, I can help them by being there with them. And even if sometimes I know that I have the next step for them to move forward, but I know they're not there to listen yet, they're not there to hear it, I will hold on to it like a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then suddenly they say something that I see they're opening up to this idea of like, okay, I need the help now. What is the next step? And I have it ready already. And now I can open it up and take them to where they need to be to heal. So I'm very happy that even though she didn't make it to getting her PhD, she was able to live her life to the fullest. And this is why she always told people that if you are going through something, take care of it. If you have issues with like childhood trauma, if you have any problems in your life, don't wait around. Take care of it now, even if it takes you a year or 2 years to deal with it. And it's going to cost you money, fine. It's going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars and thousands of shekels, whatever it is. Who cares? At the end of the day, you're going to be able to live fully the rest of your life fully instead of like half living and half not living. Forget it. Just live the best you can because you only live once. Like, what are you going to wait until you're like 60, 70, 80? And then you're going to be like, well, now I should probably think about how I should have lived my life. No, do it now. Every day is a new opportunity. Every moment is a new opportunity. And if I can go into like Elul and Tishrei and all these months in the Jewish calendar, it's like, okay, you do repentance, you say sorry for what you did wrong, you say to God sorry, you say to people sorry, and you try to like erase the bad stuff and overcome it and try to step above it and say, all right, you know what? We make mistakes, let's move on. And then Tishrei is like, okay, we're believing that we cleaned ourselves up and now we can just be joyous and happy and live to the fullest. And I think that's such a freeing feeling of being in salvation, just being free to live fully.
Oh, I love this so much. First of all, thank you. You are an inspiration. I'm so proud, you guys. This is my brother. Something that came up for me was what you said towards the end, that she didn't even get her PhD. Like she was a month short of getting her PhD, but she was able to do everything she thought she would only be able to do after the PhD before because she didn't wait. And a lot of the people I hear, a lot of the way that we think is once the kids grow up, once my husband retires, once I can actually take this, when Mashiach comes type of thing. We don't actually believe it's possible now. And so we talk ourselves into this like waiting period. Like, okay, if it's not possible now, then there's nothing to do. And therefore I have to just hold it or put it aside or just push it out. But what you're saying is there is something to do right now. And maybe it's not the full thing. And maybe you don't wake up one morning and now you're suddenly speaking in all these universities and giving all these classes. Because honestly, that's not how things work anyway. Even if she got her PhD, until she got all of these places going and until she would get it moving, it also would take about 2 years to like move and get off the ground. So the belief that we have that like it's all going to work out at a certain point is never true. And also, once you realize there is what to do, you start by the little baby steps. Like you said, go to trainings, start the website, start the videos that she made, which touched everyone. I cannot explain to you, but like everybody I say Tze'ela Gez to starts to cry. Like it touched everyone all over the world. I have clients in Australia. I have clients in the UK. I have clients in America. I have clients in Israel. I have people I talk to from everywhere, Italy and France and whatever. It's so fun. So fun that I get to talk to so many people from all over the world. Everybody I meet in person or on Zoom tells me she touched me and I don't even know her because she was willing to do the little baby steps it takes to get there. And that is a huge thing. And like you said, that is expansion. The expansion comes from the understanding that you are not limited to a one-day dream. You can take steps right now to start moving it forward. And I was thinking, even like you said, you have a whole movement of Aliyah and support the people who came on Aliyah, people who want to make Aliyah. And I'm thinking to myself, from the moment a person decides that they're going to make Aliyah, they don't just say, okay, so next year I'll make Aliyah, I'll deal with it then. No, they start to get excited about it. They start to talk about it. They start to research. They start to ask questions. They start to move in the right direction so that when they actually go and do it, they're already prepared. They already have everything done. It's almost more exciting, the looking forward to it, than the actual thing. And could you imagine, like, if we took that as an example, like, okay, next year, and this date, that's when I'll start doing research. Like, no, but that's when you have to actually start taking action, like it doesn't work like that. So I really like the way you pinpointed the point of expansion is when you give yourself permission to want it now.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people that have big dreams, they're also perfectionists because they have their dream very like clear in their head, but then they don't know what the steps are to get there. So in order to build the steps to your dream, it's a messy process. You just have to take action, even if it's small steps. It's always better to take massive action, but also small steps are amazing. And as long as you have that momentum going and you keep just pushing, things just start coming back at you. So it's very exciting that she would be like, well, I'm trying to do this like cooperation with other people about certain things in the business to try to like, I'll help you get people, you help me get people, let's try to figure it out. And some people were like, no, you're still so small, why would I help you? And she's like, that's okay. And then she would still help those bigger people when she had like somebody that she could help, but then she saw that maybe they can help them better. She would actually refer them and she would tell them, hey, listen, remember we said we would work together? Okay, don't worry about that. I have a client for you that I think would be perfect because I know that this is your area of expertise. I really thought of you and I just want to give you this. And they're like, oh, wow, you're so nice to me and you're like really there for me. And it was just like giving, giving, giving. Don't think of getting jealous or who cares? Like, there is so much to go around. It's like abundance. When you know that there is so much water in the ocean, what do you care that somebody else is taking buckets and buckets of it? There is an ocean out there. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't feel like there's not enough to go around. There is so much to go around. Everybody that's out there and taking, they're able to take for themselves and to give everybody else around them. So I think that the more all of us think in abundance, we're all going to be able to help each other. That's the whole point. Like you want to be rich because you want to be able to help people also. You don't want to just be rich for yourself. So like if you think of money as something that's going to help you to help everybody around you, like your immediate family and your extended family and your community and different projects that you want to support, if you have the money, you can help more people. So like everybody should be in the abundance mindset and not the scarcity mindset and have the growth mindset, not fixed. So I think it goes together. Like don't be stuck like the book who moved my cheese? Where the one guy, he is like this mouse, and he's like, oh, the cheese moved. Now I'm just going to wait around and see if it comes back. Don't be with the fixed mindset. Be with the growth mindset, like the other mouse, that he's like, well, I'm going to go look for more cheese. And then he finds better cheese. And then the cheese moves again, and he finds even better cheese. The more you move around and you see that things are moving and you move with them, the more you're going to feel like you're expanding and you're growing and you learn new skills and you learn new ways to deal with difficult things. And then you grow and you get to the next level. And when this tragedy happened to me and my wife is murdered next to me, and it's tragic, and then the baby dies 2 weeks later, it's tragic. I felt like, wow, Hashem is taking me from, let's say, like level 5 to level 100. Like, what is going on here? How am I like? But then I realized if this would have happened to anybody else in my community, I don't think they would have been able to manage. I think they would have just exploded, like internally and externally, whatever. Because I think that God had mercy and said, you know what, I'll do it to Hananel because I know Hananel can handle it. How can I handle it? Well, because my whole childhood I've been moving around. We have been moving around our whole childhood. Every like 2 years, we moved to a new country, a new language, a new culture. It was crazy, but it was also very amazing because we kept growing and growing socially. You're like, okay, making new friends. Okay, got to make new friends. You become very sociable. You become very bubbly. And then you got to get rid of your friends, not that you choose to, but this is what the circumstances are. Your parents are telling you, you're like 7 years old, like, okay, we're moving here now. Okay, you're 9 years old, we're moving here now. Like, okay, got to say bye to my friends, got to part ways. And you learn how to, like, okay, I guess we'll try to keep in touch. You don't really keep in touch, but who cares? Like, you realize that things are dynamic, things are always changing. And if somebody thinks that everything is going to stay the same, they're going to have a bad time on this world because they're going to think that everything needs to stay the way it is, and they're not going to flow with the waves. Like the waves keep changing. You got to also keep changing. It's always happening. Everything is, you got to roll with the punches. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, but this is how you grow from every situation in your life because some things are going to be amazing and you should be celebrating those great things. And some things are going to be horrible and you should learn how to cope with those things and try to find humor in them as well and try to find good things in them. And so that's why I feel like even in this terrible, crazy situation, I'm trying to find like funny things to say about it and just try to laugh about it because you're going to go through it anyway. So I still like say, all right, now I'm the father and the mother. So now anytime we have any marriage issues, I work it out very quickly in my head. Like, the father and the mother, we're like one now. So it's like, whatever I decide, this is what is going to happen because, hey, father and mother. And my kids, they love to say, well, Ima says like this. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, not anymore, like, but like I do give them that place of like, okay, you know what? If Ima used to say that, let's just do that anyway, fine. But like sometimes I would go with them and sometimes I would say, all right, but now it's time to go to sleep. So we have to finish whatever. So I think that like you can still find humor in everything, even in the most tragic things. And I think that being happy, being humorous, being hopeful, being full of faith, all these things are going to help you to cope with everything. And I love that thing that some stand-up comedian, he said, I don't even remember who, but he said, in life, you're either going through a life crisis right now, or you just went through a life crisis, or you're about to go through a life crisis. So get ready. And it's very funny because it's true. Like, what do you think? Life is just like the straight line and everything is just happening. Same thing with business, same thing with everything. Like, it's very messy. Things just suddenly happen. You don't know when the next terrible thing is going to happen to you, but you got to brace yourself. You got to prepare for the worst and just like run it through your mind. Like, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? Okay, I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, I guess I'll have to learn how to cope with it. And I think that because I also grew up with faith and with the Torah and learning all the stories of the people in the Torah, like Yosef Atzadik, that he went through such terrible things with his brothers betraying him and throwing him in a pit. They wanted to kill him, and then they sold him to be a slave. And he's like, a slave? Like, how can you find anything good in that? And he still found something good, even on the way down to Egypt. He is in a carriage, and it's like the worst feeling ever. Like, my brothers just sold me. Like, you are already anticipating like a life of doom and gloom. Like, you're probably going to be a slave for the rest of your life. And he still found a way to say, you know what? Everybody always goes down in a carriage full of like this smelly leather of hide of animals. And here he was somehow in a carriage full of this very good smelling spices. And he saw that as God saying, I'm here with you. Even in the worst of times, I'm here with you. And even for me, when we were on the way to have the baby, like moments before we were shot at, like this is like a minute or two before, I was so excited with my wife to have a baby. And I was telling her, wow, we're counting the Omer. And today we just counted 32, which is the equivalent in Gematria of Lamed Bet, which is Lev, like the heart. What's a better day in the year to have a baby than to have it when you just counted Lev La Omer right before Lag BaOmer? So we were so like happy and romantic and excited. And it's like such a beautiful day to have a baby. And then just, an hour later, the doctor is telling me, listen, your wife is dead. And I'm like, okay, okay, well, this is actually the best day he could have chose to do this. And I tell this to my friend that came to support me. And he's like, how can you say this is the best day he could have done this to you? You just heard your wife is dead. And I'm like, yeah, but it's Lamed Bet La Omer. I know that Hashem, his whole heart is with me. He is fully with me. And that was a choice that I made instead of saying, well, my whole heart is crushed. You can take it any way you want, but you can still choose that I am choosing to live. I am choosing to be optimistic, and it's a choice you make. So just like Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning, and he says between stimulus and response, there is space. And you can still choose how you want to react and how you want to respond to any situation in your life. You give it meaning and you can choose how to take it. So I choose to say, all right, well, Hashem did this to me. He knows what's good for me. He knows that this is probably the best thing for me and this is good somehow. I don't know how, but everything he does is for the good. And he's merciful. He could have given her 10 years of cancer treatments and who knows what terrible things we could have gone through. And then my kids would have seen their mother go through pain of 10 years and who knows what. But instead, they saw their mother going through such beautiful, like helping everybody and strengthening everybody. And she was like in the emergency team of anything that happens. And she was the first one to be on call and to go to families that lost somebody and to help people through the 7th of October, all the families that were all heartbroken and anxiety and panic and everything. And she's like, here, I'm here for you. I'm loving you. And it was a beautiful thing for me and my children to see such a vibrant, young woman, full of life, full of hope, full of giving, and always trying to do everything to help everybody and to help herself, to always grow and to be happy and to look at the bright side and to deal with a lot of difficult things, both for herself and for everybody she took care of. I mean, she was always thinking how to continue to expand, how to continue to grow, and this was a teamwork of me and her together. And I don't take any like credit for myself for everything she has done. I was just like this very quiet person from outside trying to like push her to keep going. And that was obviously very helpful for her because I was more with the kids and she was more with everybody that she was doing. But obviously she had also time for the family and for the kids. So it was a team effort. So I feel like we can always grow from any situation and it's always a choice.
Yes. Oh, okay. So one thing that comes up for me is Dave Mason wrote a book called Hurry Up and Fail. You were talking about, things are going to change, things are going to happen. And instead of just holding on and waiting for the right time or for the right moment or for the right thing to come to you, he says, just hurry up and fail. Go look for the dead end. Okay, now you know this is not the way. Now go do another thing. Now go. And the faster you can fail at something, the faster you will learn what yes to do. And instead of, waiting for the perfect website, go and build something that fails and flops and doesn't work, and then try again and figure it out. It is such good advice. And it's something that you were talking about. Take action. And you listeners, I want you to be very, very attentive here, because when you take action, you are expanding. You are opening yourself up to possibilities. If you stay home and cry, and if you're all like, I don't want to do anything, then nothing happens. So then it sort of like feeds itself because nothing's happening. If you are like feeling really down and you go for a walk, you go out of your house, you start to wander. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing, but at least you got out. You took steps towards something out there that is never ending, because out there is huge. who knows who you're going to meet? Who knows who's going to be, on the way, in the corner, waiting for something, waiting for the bus, and you get a smile or you get to talk. Sometimes it changes your mood so quickly when you get out and you take action. So I really love that. I love that you're saying to be dynamic. It was a very big takeaway for me. Also, the point about the money being an amplifier. So yeah, El Trush is a money coach, and she talks about that a lot. When you have this belief that money is going to ruin my life, or money is going to change me in some way, or money is going to take away my connection to God, because when I'm poor, I talk to God all the time because I have to have him. But when I'm rich, maybe I'll lose that. That is, by the way, something I used to think, and I had to work through. But it's actually the opposite. Money is just a tool, it's an amplifier. And so if you are a good person, it will amplify the goodness that you have the capacity to do. And if you're a bad person, it will just amplify your badness. It's like, it's not going to really change you. It's just going to give you more power, the ability to do more.
And then this summer, I went to this camp in New York called Masora. And in Camp Masora, I got to talk to a lot of children and a lot of teens. And it was very inspirational for them. And I felt like, wow, I'm doing them such a service that I'm preparing them for life and all the messiness that goes into it. And you're always thinking like, this is the trajectory of my life, and this is what I'm going to be doing with my life. And things change, and they can change very drastically. But if you have a positive mindset and you have resiliency, then you're able to push through all these terrible situations and feel like there is still hope. And they were telling me you should totally start like classes online, and you should totally start like this Zoom meeting once a week or once a month and inspire people. And we're even willing to pay for that just so we have a connection to you and everything you teach about having faith and being positive. And I was like, well, yeah, I would probably call it like Emuna land, because I feel like a lot of people are in La La Land, that like, oh yeah, everything is fine and whatever, we're just gonna do like a regular life. And it's like you're living in La La Land, live in Emuna land, because things are gonna get crazy and you're gonna need that Emuna, you're gonna need that faith. So I actually did open up this WhatsApp community called Emuna Land, and I'm just trying to like just get people involved just so they can feel like they can jump on a Zoom call once a week or once a month. We'll figure it out, and just have like something that everybody can grab onto, and it can give them a boost, and it can give me a boost too. Like it's just good for everybody.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I love it. At the Shiva, I heard you speak about, the story of someone coming into a store and hitting the whatever it was. Can you tell that a little bit?
Vessels.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So at the Shiva, somebody actually came to me like on the first or second day, and they told me this medrash, this thing that sages say, that there was a guy that had a store with a lot of vessels, like vases and just big, beautiful, different ornaments. And somebody came into the store and asked, how do I know this is actually good quality? Maybe it's not really good, you know? And the store owner takes a big stick and starts to hit these vases and these things, and they don't break. And so the guy tells me, what do you think? Do you think that this guy would hit the ones that he knows would break? Or would he hit the ones he knows are not going to break? Obviously, he's going to hit the ones that he knows are going to stay strong and not going to break. Same thing with Hashem. If he chose you to hit you so hard that you lost your wife and your baby is in like critical condition between life and death, you understand that God believes that you are strong enough. So show him that he's right. And I was like, absolutely. I'm going to show him that he's right and that I am strong enough, and we're going to pull through. And it's very hard. It's very hard. Even so, we are going to pull through as a nation, and nobody can break us. And individually in our personal lives, every one of us has their own bag of difficult things they're going through, and we can all go through it, because if Hashem gets you through to it, He'll get you through it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. That story helped me a lot. In the beginning, I was driving a lot. There was a group of all sister-in-laws that lost someone. So it was interesting because I was the only sister-in-law that lost a female relative. Like my sister-in-law was female. Everyone else, it was male. And most of them were soldiers. So it was really fascinating to be part of this group and really get that sisterhood of people who get it. It was very, very good. But because it was a half-hour drive each way, I used to give rides to people. And as I'm giving rides to people, it comes up like, oh, where are you going? I'm going to a sister-in-law grieving support group. And oh, really? Who was your sister-in-law, Tze'ela Gez? So they were saying, wow, I didn't even know her, but I felt it here, and they were starting to tell me where they were when they found out. And I was driving here and my mother called me here and whatever. And it's like, you don't even know her, but you were so touched. And every time, over and over again, it was just beautiful. And the thing that came up for me every time, I said, yeah, thank God we were chosen. And they were like, what? And I really feel like it was a privilege to be chosen because I got to experience so much of that oneness, that we're all together in this, that there is no such thing as, oh, is she the people I know, or is she someone I don't know, or is she one of us, or is she not one of us? Like, no, it was completely all one. Everybody and anybody that got on always start telling me how it was like, I felt like she was my best friend and I never even met her. You know, I felt so attached. I don't know why. I prayed so much for the baby. Like everybody had what to say. And I felt so privileged to be part of that unity of this nation. It was absolutely incredible. Another thing that happened was I gave a young teenager a ride and we started talking and she said, no way. Just last week, your brother gave me a ride. And it turns out you were with our parents driving towards me or something. You gave her a ride on the same route that I was giving her a ride. And she put this together. I was like blown away. And I thought that was so funny. First of all, she said too, she's like, you guys are so similar. You're such good people, And it was just so really cute. The obvious, not random, but very random things that happen. That was very cool.
Yeah, that's very nice. We always have a choice. We can still continue to be kind to each other and be, compassionate to each other and also to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was so powerful. You could be in your own little bubble being like, I don't want anybody in my car. I'm in the middle of being grouchy. And like, no, I stop for people. I let them on. I talk to them. I make them feel comfortable. And they know me enough that they can put the two and two together, It's a real gift.
And
For people.
I can say also that even our parents, they would say that they're shocked and they're like, where did this guy get all this faith and Emunah from? Like, how is he so strong? And I'm like, Abba, Ima, it's from you. And they're like, no, we were never such believers, like in such tragedy. And I'm like, of course you are. You don't even realize it. Like, we're living in such a strong way because you raised us that way. And also, you sent us to the right schools. You sent us to schools that are going to teach us how to love Hashem and how to love each other and how to continue to put our best foot forward, even in the hardest, most craziest times. So it's okay. Like, you can take some credit as our parents. And I think that that's why we came out the way we did, because we felt like this is the right way to live, to help each other and to be good to each other, no matter what situation you're in. You can always help somebody else. And I feel like now I have new tools of helping people. Like, if I'm going through something so crazy, it's because Hashem says, all right, now you're going to feel it in your own bones, and now you can help other people. So it's just always giving and giving, and that's how you grow, by giving.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm thinking the people who are listening, they, thank God, hopefully, are not going through such crazy stuff. They have regular day things, the things that bother you, the things that get annoying, the things that irk you. And then you're like, well, I don't know, maybe if it was this like big, gigantic trauma, I'd have to like have that space of making a decision. Am I going this way or that way? But like in the little day things, it almost doesn't feel like we have a choice. Because this is irking, so I get irked, and this is annoying, so I get annoyed, and this is frustrating, so I get frustrated. how do we build that muscle even in the little things?
So I think that this is something that we all go through. We're all going through like small and big things all the time. So I think that the most important thing is to breathe into it and say, all right, what am I feeling right now? I'm feeling frustrated. Okay, what can I do with it? I can say in my own life, like I have days where I'm really sad and I'm really depressed and I'm thinking, I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be sad. So what do I do with that? And then I think about what is going to make me happy. And I say, well, maybe in like 2, 3 years or whenever it's going to happen, maybe sooner, maybe later, hopefully one day I'm going to get married to somebody new and it's going to be very special and I'm going to be so happy. And it's going to be like such a happy day for me. And hopefully many days after that, also going to be very happy to have a mother for the children and a beautiful home and everything. And I'm thinking that's going to make me so happy. So why don't I just take that happiness from the future and pull it to now? And that really helps me to get out of a rut. And I think that it doesn't have to be with big things either. It could be like, well, I'm stuck in traffic now, but I can still think about where I'm going and how I'm going to have fun when I get there, even if it's going to be in like 20 minutes or a half hour, whatever it's going to be. But like, okay, I'm stuck in a traffic jam because this is the only way I'm going to get there. If I had another route, of course I would take another route. If I can't, then I'm just going to put some music on and enjoy this half hour that I have to be stuck here. Or I'll call a friend or I'll call my grandma or my sister or whoever and start just enjoying this time and making the best of this not such a great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I really want all of us to be able to internalize it. And sometimes there's this block of like, yeah, that's good for him because he has the tools or he has the situation or whatever. It's like, no, 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 you guys don't realize this is here for you to pause and think, how can I internalize what I've just heard? How can I change one little tiny reaction? How can I create a little bit more space in that gap between the stimulus and my reaction, right? There is a beautiful gap that you can stretch. Like we're talking about expansion, expand that space and give yourself the calm, cool and collected attitude of like, I can choose what I want to do right now. Oh, look at that. Nothing bad happened if I didn't respond within, a millisecond. What if I take 3 seconds to respond? What if I say, let me think about it? Whatever it is that is causing you to want to automatically explode back, see if you could try to play with that space, because that's really where the expansion is going to come from.
And I want to say that, like you said, like, oh, we don't have the tools. Well, you have a brain, so you have the tool of a brain, and you can put the right things in your brain and you can live in the right frequency. If you're going to be in a low frequency and really low about stuff, yeah, you're going to live in a low frequency, but you can still choose to say, all right, you know what? What would I do if I was like excited? Like if I know somebody that's really happy, this somebody that's really happy and excited and is able to go through this, what would they do? How can I emulate them? What can I do the same as them? It doesn't have to be that you actually go meet with them or talk with them. Of course, that could also help. But even in your own brain, you could play a mind trick on yourself and say, all right, this is my time to to step up and do the best I can. And it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, totally. And also give yourself permission to be where you are. Like we said before, you don't have to force it to change. If you're, yesterday I had one of these days where I was just like, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to sit here and mope. So I did. And it was fine because look, today I'm feeling way better, you know? And giving myself permission to sort of like pause and not have to get anything done allowed me to get so much done afterwards. So I highly recommend you give yourself permission to be where you are. Hananel, this was so much fun. Thank you for being my guest. This is a real, real privilege. I feel like everyone is pulling at you for attention and like, here, come speak there. And like you became all famous. And then I'm like, oh, I wanted to. So thank you. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. How can people get in touch with you? How could they join the Amuna Land subgroup or anything that you do in the future?
So definitely I'll send you the link so you can send it around in your podcast. And of course, if people want to reach out and talk, I mean, I'll send you my phone number also. I don't care that people get in touch with me. I mean, you have my number. And thank you also for all your support throughout the years. I mean, you've been an amazing older sister, and I appreciate everything that you always keep helping with. So thank you.
You're welcome. Oh. All the links will be down below. And also, if you join our email list, you will get an email with all the links and you'll be able to click them and follow through. Don't forget to be connected for real. And thank you so much for listening. All the
Thank you very
best.
much.
You're welcome.